This is WLWT News 5, leading the way.
Record-breaking early voting. Thousands of people waiting in lines for hours to make their voices heard before Election Day. We break down those numbers and take a look at how local precincts are getting ready for the polls to open back up.
And a razor-thin race here in Ohio that could decide the control of the Senate. Longtime Senator Sherrod Brown taking on newcomer and businessman Bernie Moreno. We're live across Ohio with how both campaigns are making a final pitch to voters tonight.
And the polls are opening in less than 24 hours. That's right. From the presidential race to local elections, when you could start casting that ballot and what other hot-button issues you can expect to see on your ballot. And good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us here at 6. There's the countdown, 12 hours away. I'm Mike Dardis.
And good evening to you. I'm Cherie Palillo. So we are making sure that you're ready to go before the polls open again in less than 24 hours. But millions of you, especially in Ohio and Kentucky, already ahead of the game, casting your ballot during early voting already. And WLWT News 5's Todd Dykes is live with what the final numbers in Ohio are already revealing. Hi, Todd.
Hi, sure. Yeah, you know, it feels a little surreal to say that we finally reached this point after such a long campaign season. But here in Hamilton County, a record-breaking number of people made the decision to get here to the early vote center in Norwood and cast a ballot early in person. When the process ended last night, 95,966 county residents had done just that. They made their way to Norwood to cast a ballot early in person. That's almost 20% higher than 4 years ago, when around 80,000 residents showed up to vote early, as COVID-19 was, of course, wreaking havoc all across the country. Now, it's important to note that Hamilton County does have around 600,000 registered voters overall, and that means there certainly could be polling places that see long lines tomorrow, something to keep in mind. However things turn out, the state's top voting official says any kind of unruly behavior at local precincts will be dealt with quickly.
We will not tolerate any kind of mistreatment of our poll workers. That's something that will be responded to very abruptly. And I can say this, that the vast majority of Ohioans truly respect the sanctity of the election process. Most people walk into a polling location almost the same way they walk into church, with a real sense of respect and dignity for the process.
Now, there's still some eagerness to vote early today. Of course, it stopped last night at 5 here in Hamilton County and across Ohio, but several people, I'd say dozens of people, showed up thinking they might be able to cast a ballot early on this Monday. Again, that's not the case. It's important for those folks to know where their local polling place is so they can show up at the right place tomorrow to make their voice heard. For now, reporting live here in Norwood, Todd Dykes, WLWT News 5.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. In Kentucky, the Commonwealth also seeing record-breaking early voting numbers. Nearly 800,000 people in Kentucky already casting their ballots before Election Day tomorrow. And now local precincts are getting things set up as we count down to the polls opening tomorrow morning. We're also hearing from the Boone County Board of Elections. They tell us that the phones have been ringing all day as voters get in those last-minute questions before Election Day. In Boone County, 19,000 of the 115,000 registered voters have already cast their ballots. In Kenton County, there were 31,000 early voters out ahead of the 146,000 registered, both expecting record-breaking turnouts by the time it is all said and done at the end of tomorrow. Turning now to the high-stakes Senate race, the U.S. Senate race in Ohio, current Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown fighting tooth and nail to hold on to that seat. Meanwhile, GOP newcomer Bernie Moreno is working hard to replace the longtime politician.
And this one neck and neck right now. It's a race that could determine whether the Senate will have a Democratic or a Republican majority for the next couple of years. Right now, as I said, the two are neck and neck. Want to show you here new polling from Emerson College out tonight showing Moreno with a 3% lead over Brown, but that's within the margin of error here, which means it is still anyone's game.
And we are live from Columbus and Cleveland, where each of those candidates plan to be on election night.
Our Chris Jacobs is following Bernie Moreno in Cleveland, and Ashley Kirkland joining us from Senator Sherrod Brown's campaign in Columbus. We begin with Ashley tonight. Good evening to you.
Hi, Mike and Cherie. Well, Senator Brown was first voted into office in 2006, and he is the only Democrat remaining in a non-judicial statewide office here in the Buckeye State. And of course, he skipped the Democratic National Convention this summer in Chicago, and he has chosen to campaign by attending various smaller events throughout the state. Just yesterday, he joined fellow Democrats Alicia Reese and Greg Lantzman in Hamilton County for their Souls to the Polls event. Well, today Brown is in his hometown of Cleveland campaigning with former President Bill Clinton. A little bit earlier, they were there on the campaign trail, and we're told by his campaign officials that he will vote in Cleveland tomorrow morning, and later that evening he'll have his watch party here in Columbus, and we will be there for that. Now, throughout the election cycle, Brown has been leaning into the issue of abortion access and protecting access to women's health care, an issue that he has tried to draw a line in the sand on between he and his opponent.
When I win in November, when we win the 3 Supreme Court justices here, we win in November, when I raise my right hand again in January, you ain't seen nothing yet.
All right, so just about a day until the polls close, and the latest Emerson College poll showing Brown trailing Moreno, 48% for Moreno, 45% for Brown. Live here in Columbus, Ashley Kirkland, WLWT News 5.
All right, Ashley, thanks so much. On the other side of this highly anticipated and expensive Senate battle is closing out the race outside of Cleveland. Bernie Moreno is running neck and neck, as I was saying, with Sherrod Brown.
It's the $500 million battle, most expensive of all time. And WLWT News 5 anchor Chris Jacobs live in the Cleveland area with a look ahead to Election Day. Hi, Chris.
Yeah, hey, Mike. Well, who is expected to win this race depends greatly on which poll you look at. They're all within the margin of error, and they keep going back and forth, so it's leading to a lot of uncertainty with this particular race. Now, today, Bernie Moreno is speaking his final campaign event in Brecksville. That's about 30 minutes south of Cleveland. Now, tomorrow, his watch party will be in Westlake. Moreno did make a stop in Batavia on Saturday. He was also in Wilmington on Sunday. He criticized Sherrod Brown, saying he never shows up in places like Northwest or Southwest Ohio because he only cares about Cleveland and Columbus. He's also gone after Brown over transgender issues, immigration issues. But one of the hot button issues in this campaign has been access to abortion. Now, the Brown campaign making that one of the focal points of attack against Moreno. We caught up with Moreno at his event in Batavia this weekend. He did respond to those attacks.
We're going to do the things that bring this country together. Make it less expensive to raise children, less expensive to have them, fund pregnancy centers, make certain that women have equal access to contraception, make adoption less expensive. That brings the country together. That's what we should be doing.
Yeah, and this is also a record-setting election in terms of spending. Mike, as you mentioned, there are reports as much as $450 million to $500 million being spent on campaign ads, and that would make this the most expensive Senate race in U.S. history. Reporting live in Cleveland, Chris Jacobs, WLWT News 5.
Chris, thank you. And here's a look at the Election Day schedule for you in Kentucky. The polls will open at 6 in the morning, close at 6 p.m. If you're mailing in a ballot, it needs to be received by your county clerk by 6 o'clock tomorrow night on Election Day. Here in Ohio, the polls will be open from 6:30 in the morning until 7:30. You get an extra hour tomorrow night. If you're voting by mail, your ballot needs to be postmarked by today. Out in Indiana, polls are going to be open again 6 to 6 in the morning till 6 at night. If you're voting by mail, your ballot has to be received by the time the polls close on election night.
And remember, we put together a full election guide for you online. You can scan this QR code on your screen for help, and we will have continuous Commitment 2024 coverage in all of our newscasts through tomorrow's election. We'll stay till late in the morning, early in the morning, I should say, on Wednesday, including special coverage during 1 hour-long newscast tonight at 7 o'clock. So join us then for our election special. Right now, some breaking news out of Carroll County, Kentucky. 5 people now have been arrested after police say they found a child locked in a cage.
So disturbing here. Carrollton police apparently got a tip and went to investigate. Officers telling us that they found a boy younger than 3 years old without any clothes on in a wooden and metal enclosure that was locked with a padlock. 2 children were ultimately removed from the home. Police have now arrested 5 different people. Here they are, ranging in in ages from 28 to 72 years old. They're all charged with criminal abuse and wanton endangerment. So far, police have not said how exactly they're connected to that child. Back here at home, southbound lanes of the Daniel Carter Beard Bridge remain closed right now as investigators work to figure out the cause of that massive fire from Friday.
And today, many drivers got their first taste of the new commute. WLWT News 5's Danielle Dindak is live tonight with new information from all kinds of officials. Hi there, Danielle.
Yeah, hi there, Mike. I can tell you that this closure is really causing a lot of headaches for drivers. So right now I'm standing at the intersection of Pete Rose Way and Broadway, and I do want to have you take a look behind me and around me so you can get a sense of all this traffic down here. So this is all leading to the Taylor Southgate Bridge, and that is just one of the detours people can take going to Kentucky. It's truly been bumper to bumper ever since we got out here 2 hours ago. Not a lot of patience out here, a lot of beeping we are hearing, but this is all happening at the same time as crews are working to fully open the bridge.
The play structure here was heavily involved in fire.
Cincinnati Assistant Fire Chief Matt Flagler.
The fire actually extended up and deformed the beams.
Walks us through the damage.
That joint has plastic, rubber, synthetic materials in it of some sort. That was actively burning.
He's referring to Friday morning's inferno at the Daniel Carter Beard Big Mac Bridge on 471. The mayhem started around 3:30 in the morning when the playground beneath went up in flames.
What in the world? That is ridiculous.
That blaze blackened the bridge, melted and warped beams. 3 will have to be replaced. And that's not all. Here's Kathleen Fuller with ODOT.
We also have a sign truss that is on the bridge that has to be replaced, and also the decking will have to be replaced.
While contractors work on designs, crews sift through the rubble. Among them, a robotic dog went to work surveying the damage.
We're using those to help capture imaging for us that can get into the tight corners and the different aspects of the bridge so that we can use that in the design.
Investigators are still working to determine the cause of that massive fire that closed down all southbound lanes and one northbound lane.
The people who have to drive it daily, yeah, that's going to suck.
Jessica Horn is one of those people, getting her first taste of the traffic impact Monday morning.
It's definitely heavier traffic. It's crazy. I mean, I feel like we just had a fire shutting down 75, and now we have 471 shut down.
Now, what's happening behind me is really only going to get worse because tonight at 7, Jelly Roll is performing at a sold-out Heritage Bank Arena. You're seeing a lot of fans head over to the arena for that. Now, one last thing I do want to mention quickly is the timeline for when that bridge is supposed to reopen is supposed to come out sometime later this week. Of course, we'll continue to update you on any new developments. Reporting live tonight, Danielle Dindak, WLWT News 5.
All right, Danielle, thanks so much. Yeah, bridge fire plus 6:10 in the evening plus Jelly Roll equals bad. Not if you like the music, I meant the rest of it. Could cause some big-time backups in that repair area.
Yeah, bad traffic. Allison Rogers joining us now with a check on your evening commute. Hi, Allison.
Hey, guys. Yeah, so when we were last with you, the Big Mac not looking great in terms of that northbound lane, but things are actually improving there. We are seeing some of the traffic going a little bit faster, a little bit steadier flow there for the northbound lane. So that's some good news there. It is still going to ebb and flow throughout the rest of this evening, occasionally still seeing some slowdowns, especially with the far right lane. So pack your patience if you are headed out tonight. Otherwise, the rest of the bridges, of course, a little bit more backed up compared to usual. Guys, back over to you.
All right, Allison, thanks so much.
Right to Kevin Robinson. Big day tomorrow. Let's find out what the weather's going to be like for tonight and tomorrow.
Hey guys, looking pretty good for Election Day tomorrow. In fact, near record warmth will be brought in here on the heels of some pretty brisk winds. So we've got a windy Election Day coming up. I'll time out the rain for tomorrow night and then some slightly cooler weather for the second half of the week. All those details coming up in just a few. Sheree?
Kevin, thanks so much. Coming up, a woman dedicating her life to democracy. We're introducing you to this poll worker who's been lending a hand in every election for the past 50 years. That's next at 6.